Now let us go to our game, where MVL he pushed d4, another very logical way of playing the position. He wants to say, I have some development advantage, I want to open position up. CD4, queen d4, f6. Now this knight is going to go to f7, but since white does not have a pawn center, queen is on d4 instead of the pawn, white is going to have much more difficulty controlling black pawn breaks. Castles, d6, c4. Okay, white is building some sort of almost like Marozzi bind, but white will not be able to stop black so easily from executing f5 pawn push. b3, knight h6, knight c3, so white has this bind, rook b8, bishop d2, castles, rook a1, knight f7. So this is not exactly Marozzi bind, because white, first of all, black has a different structure. In the Marozzi, this pawn will not be on c5, it will be on a b6. And also, how do you stop f5? h4. Hoping to cause some pawn weaknesses. Here Carlsen plays nice prophylactic move. He plays move rook b7. He wants to be ready to push f5 at the right moment, and he wants to make it sure that his pawn is protected. Also, white does not have any kind of clever moves here. Immediate f5 is less great, because let's say maybe take, knight g5. And if e5, rook to d1. On the other hand, if you take by bishop, it is possible. But then you will still need to play some move like rook b7. So Magnus was very right to play this nice prophylactic move immediately. White here does not exactly have a good moves. MVL, he pushed h5. Trying to cause, actually, most probably he played the best move under circumstances. Hoping to create some weaknesses, like take, knight h5, or to cause black playing g5, which Carlsen did. Probably strongest for black was f5, which does not look great at the first sight, because white can take on g6. When you take on g6, play move knight h4. It looks like that black overplayed his hand, because if knight e5, queen g6 comes, queen e8, knight e5. But actually here, black has a great resource in a pawn sacrifice by pushing f4. Knight g6, knight e5. Knight e5, bishop e5, and black has tremendous attack. Simply this rook is going to join. So this was a great resource. Most probably underestimated by both players, or by Magnus, or both. So g5 was played. Now black would like to actually push f5 again, but white has now better ways to fight against it. Knight h2, correctly so, MVL wants to push f4 to try to open up some route to the black king. Knight e5, queen g3, threatening to utilize the g file. Like, for example, if move like queen e8, hitting on h5, there are ideas like h6, bishop h6, and push. So king h8. King h1 is now wrong because of queen e8. And black wins a pawn for nothing. I just wanted to say king h1, like, does black have a threat? Yes, black has a threat. Because now, after queen g3, queen e8 doesn't win a pawn because push and f4. If you play knight f7, there is plenty of compensation. But now, after king h8, black has a threat. Threat is queen e8, grabbing this pawn. So f4, correct decision. Gf4, bishop f4, rook g8, rook e3, very constructive move, preventing also knight's jump to d3, knight c6, queen f2, because threat is already f5. But now we see after f5 the advantage of rook on e3, because knight does not hang. But here white made a grave mistake. Actually, position is not clear. White had to play e5, bishop f5, rook g3, and very unclear play. Black has great bishops, but okay, white's king is a little bit safer actually. And black still has to bring this rook in play. Black has excellent play, but white is perhaps not worse, or anyhow white has his chances. I would personally rather play this game, this position with black, for sure. And I think most of people will. But white had to play this, and white is very much in the game. The way it went, white made a huge blunder. White played move knight f3. And now it is more or less over because of this very good move. Sometimes what I did notice, maybe I'm wrong, but I did notice this in a number of games, very strong games. Somehow when you have this fianchettoed bishop protecting your king, very often people, they do not consider enough moves like bishop c3. Almost like, well, if he gives me this bishop, he will give me great chances. And it could be that this is also a reason why MVL, instead of taking on f5 and staying very much in the game, he played move knight f3, which is a huge blunder due to this decision. Bishop c3, rook c3, e5. Now suddenly, okay, this far is crucial. If bishop d2, f4 is simply winning. Black is having dream King's Indian attack. Game ends with a mate very quickly. It is maybe good to mention that in a chess, we can always do unbelievable stupid things. For example, fe4 will be incredibly stupid move. Why? Because of bishop g5. And suddenly the game has turned. You cannot take because of simple chess. And suddenly black loses. At the same time, going away with the queen does not seem to help very much, because there is plenty of attack. So it is always possible in a game, that's why chess is such a wonderful game, it is always possible to do something very stupid. Actually, while I'm talking this, I see here a much better move. This is a much better move. Because I want to take queen, e1 takes, I can take, and this is hanging. Bishop f6 is also coming. But f4 is simply winning. f4 is very simple move and checkmate. So here, facing this calamity, MVL decided to sacrifice piece. Well, not because he thought this is a good sacrifice, but because of necessity, because of desperation, he played move rook d3, but okay, after e takes f4, it is just a piece for nothing. Queen b2, rook g7, h6, he manages to win exchange, but fe4, rook d2, take on f3, take on g7, take back, rook f3, queen g5. Black is having material advantage and winning attack, and game finished in about 10 moves. A crucial moment of the game being here, actually underestimating this bishop giving put the end to this very interesting game. ef5 was keeping white in a game, though I would have rather played this position as a black. So what I wanted to say is that I do not think that this d4 and to take back with a piece is a great idea. Why? Because indeed black does develop, places a bishop to g7, knight to f7, and then gets ready to push f5, and this bind which white is building, almost like a Marozzi bind, does not really work, because first of all pawn is on c5, in Marozzi this pawn would be on b6, and secondly white now does not have a good remedy versus f5 pawn push. Therefore I think that the best for white in this kind of position is to castle and to aim to build a central pawn structure in the case of f6, aiming for c3 and d4, having a pawn center, which then f5 doesn't work so easy because there is always e5. And in the case of e5 to play move c3 to copy an English opening but with a extra tempo. And knight f6 is simply wrong, because of, again, we have this very good English color reversed, like in this game Kasparov Salov amongst others, where Gary could have played even better. Here I'm also entering a little bit of theory part. So I personally do not think after bishop b5 g6, bishop c6, that bc6, which is played a lot and with success by many strong players, is really equalizing for black after castles and then following on these guidelines which I have just given. So I think that actually alternative setup d takes c6 is a better idea for black. This is at least what I think, and d takes c6 we are now going to examine.